I'm
I
not.
mean, what
I'm
do I
definitely
know?
I'm not a YouTube expert. Clearly.
Well, neither am I. Hey, everybody. Clearly, we're not YouTube experts as we continued our conversation from the offline to the online. But since the StreamYard Duck is currently the only one, I believe, who's in the chat, I mean, he can give me shit for it later. Oh, look, there's this Jamoke too. How's it going, John?
Doing well. I spent part of my time at work today being paid to make my TeePublic. So I've got a TeePublic now.
Oh, do they know that you were doing that?
I mean, if they watch your YouTube channel,
I was gonna say now they do. It's weird because obviously I've seen you from playing D&D, but it feels much different seeing you now as John instead of your character, because as you know, we both go full method.
There's some deep performing happening.
So it's good to see you.
Yeah, and you as well.
And hey, look. What's up?
Another Jamoke.
Another joke. Well, I mean, we're all Jamokes here. It's like the Mad Hatter.
We're all a little mad. Basically on time because it's on Alex's channel. I mean, give me a break, dude. Come on, JP. Do better. We got a ton of books to talk about because we're talking about 2 months because of, illnesses and laziness and, fire. Yeah. We're catching up on May and on April books.
Magic Lasso. I don't know what you're looking at, but pay attention to this show instead of what else you're looking at to see these quote unquote awesome gents. See what I did there?
I saw. Self-deprecation.
Yeah, it's kind of my brand. Hey, we got a bunch to talk about. What do you want to chat about first? What's striking your fancy?
I feel like we should go with your thumbnail, right? I mean, I kind of feel like that, and the I love the cover of this.
Yeah,
book.
I got this one, but
this was all hot girl summer to me.
Yeah.
Just more Poison Ivy. I love this cover. But sadly really for me, was my favorite part of the book was the cover.
Really?
Not my favorite issue of the, what are they on now? 3 that they've done so far.
Yeah, I mean, I guess sure, maybe it wasn't the best out of them, but it's one of those things where now we're, I think, judging it in the vacuum of itself, because I still thought it was better than 90% of the comics I read every month.
I could definitely say that's true.
So, I mean, that's why it's hard to, he set up such a high bar though for himself for the first 2 issues that, this was kind of a bridge issue with a lot of setup for other things, but
yeah,
it's still gorgeous to look at. It still made me laugh a number of times.
It still has fun. I think I love the fun little ties to the DC universe at large.
Yeah.
Right.
That we get Fate's helmet.
Yep. And I think that's kind of some of the fun I get out of it is those little moments where it's like, hey, look who showed up. The Clayface, the use of Clayface.
Yeah.
Both impressive and disturbing.
And this panel, which is the panel of the year for me. So good. R.I.P. Killer Croc. Spoilers.
Really need to reread the whole story. Struggle to remember everything when reading, and that's another drawback. Is
it for sure. It's
slow publishing.
It is a rich story. It is fairly dense as far as the interactions and the nuance and the subtlety and everything like that. So I can see that. I think it's going to read super well as a collection.
Absolutely.
We were talking about beforehand before we went live is that these oversized books are they're not sustainable as a collector. I'd rather just wait and buy the collection. So if they're going to continue to do these oversized books, they look gorgeous, right? And I think it would be a disservice to the art to publish it in a smaller format, but I'd rather just have it as a collection or in regular books that could fit in my collection boxes.
This is all true, and I agree with all of it. I'm gonna really make a concerted effort to make this my last large size format book, and just be patient enough to, even if it's like an amazing creative team that I'm hearing incredible things about, like Wonder Woman Historia I mentioned, just to be patient enough to say it'll be out soon enough. I'll read it then. Because several people were like, John, you got to read this book. It's so good. And I'm like, I will one day. Plus, they're really expensive. Like the hardcover edition will likely be cheaper than
buying the individual issue.
$7.99 times 4 or 5 or whatever it is, you know?
Yeah.
So in that way, it's hard to store, expensive, easy to damage, like super easy to like ruin the spine on these things.
And as far as I know, Batman Damned 1 has been the only one that's like really retained any sort of value, unless there's something I'm not aware of.
I would agree. And I don't know that it retained that much value. It's just like the schlong book.
Yeah. But, you know, it's something we all have to have in our collection, in case you need to reference to see what Batman's dong looks like.
Because I'm sure you would not be able to find any of that on the internet. No. Yeah. By the way, don't search
let me
Batman's
try.
dong.
I was gonna say, let me try to type Batman's dick into Google and see what comes up. Probably Batman's dong.
I mean, it's probably
coming
fair.
up.
But yeah, is this a 4 or a 5 issue series? Do we know if there's 1 or 2 more?
I heard that there was going to be 1 more, and then it's going to be on hiatus or something. So I don't know.
It's not an ongoing though, right?
I don't believe so. It definitely feels like it's moving towards a conclusion.
Yeah, right. The reveal of what happened to Batman,
I don't know that any of these bigger format Black Labels have been an ongoing either. So
JP says he stores them in a slab box.
Yeah, I mean, I thought about that too, but then I have to buy like magazine bags and boards,
and enough to store them. I mean, I guess you can put slabs in with it to like either end or whatever. I don't know.
Interesting. Gore says you can do without the humor. I think that, I mean, for me, it's part of the whole thing. Like, I think that a lot of times, and there's another book I'm going to talk about tonight that humor really kind of saves it for me. Like, obviously I like things that are like super dense and dramatic, but it didn't feel like, you know, the Avengers movie, which is to me like a comedy with superheroes.
Right.
Or especially like Thor Ragnarok, where it's like so funny all of the time, where this like had just like little bits and pieces, and the characters who were funny were the consistently comic relief parts, where it's not like all of a sudden this character is saying something really funny or doing something really funny. I don't know.
No, I think you're right on, and it's why Killer Croc is such a great character in the story. I think.
Right. But I mean, I'm to the same extent, like I understand his point where if you like Dark Knight Returns style, you know, of Batman, this is not going to be the book for you. But, you know, even the animated series a lot of times did not have any humor in it, which I kind of equate this is like the closest thing to the animated series to me that's like been in comic form, as far as just like the feel of the overarching love of the world and the quintessential nature of what who the characters are and how they relate. But I've said that all before when we're talking about the other issues.
But I think you're right on. I think there is that sort of connective tissue to this animated series where it does not necessarily feel as graphic, maybe, as Miller's.
Gritty.
Yeah. And in this way has a sheen to it in a way that is a little more universally accessible in some ways. I don't know.
Yeah. Either way, still like one of my favorite reads of the year so far.
Oh yeah.
I think it's super great. Art's gorgeous. stories, I mean, I think it's really well told. I think like even if it's not your cup of tea, I think it's still like very intentional in the way it's told. Like there's no wasted space, there's no wasted panels. They all kind of serve their purpose and move the story forward. And it does something that I think a lot of comics have trouble with, especially nowadays, which is like having scenes make sense and like serve their purpose.
Yeah. It all builds together really nicely. And I like the conceit is not abused and overused. Like it doesn't come off as cliched when you're like, oh, it's old man Harley and it's or old woman Harley and it's old woman Poison Ivy, and it doesn't feel like some of those styles that get really overused and get real bland. And you're talking to somebody who loved Old Man Hawkeye, and
yeah.
It's like, but I've read some of those that just couldn't get beyond the basic idea. The premise was the comic, right? And this is way beyond that.
Right. Yeah. Agreed.
All right. What was the other book that you mentioned that comedy may have saved it?
Something that I think you said you did not pick up, so I can talk about it quickly.
Sure.
Which was this, the Jurassic League.
Okay.
So this, for those of you who might have missed this, it's Daniel Warren Johnson wrote it, and it's basically like an alternate universe, I guess, where all of the superheroes are dinosaurs. And it's absolutely ridiculous, as you could assume. But I think for me, it's super funny and it doesn't take itself seriously at all.
Sure.
And I think that's the key to this book, because unlike something like Deceased, which tried to be like this very serious, gritty thing, but it didn't quite get there. Like it still felt super silly to me the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this is just like, no, we're just fucking around and we're making dinosaurs superheroes. And like all of the names of the places and stuff are like themed, like it's like Metropolis and stuff like that. But
how many issues is this supposed to be? Is it 6 or 8?
6.
Okay.
So like again, probably better as a trade, but
we were talking about
dinosaurs,
Daniel Warren Johnson.
Right.
I got his Murder Falcons right down there.
Yeah.
The hardcover came in.
JP said I couldn't bring myself to grab that. Yeah, like I get it. I just love dinosaurs and I couldn't not give it a shot. It is ridiculous. It's absolutely absurd. And like I wouldn't even say it's good. Like on paper, it shouldn't be good because the story is dumb. The pacing is kind of weird. It's all over the place. It introduces way too many characters. But it was so goofy and fun and silly that like I just had a blast reading it. So
nice.
That's
hopefully it amounts to a solid trade, and then I'll snag the trade and read it. My turn. Is it my turn now?
Oh, sure, I guess.
Well, I've got 3 indie number 1s here. I got an indie number 5 because Bolero finished. Yeah. I don't know if you read the final issue.
What issue do I have here? I have number 4. I don't think I've read 5 yet.
Okay, then we'll save that for next time.
But can I just say something briefly about Bolero, which I might ruin it for you. Those lines in their hair drive me absolutely up a wall.
Oh, is that going to ruin it for me? I don't know.
Well, you're just never going to be able to unsee them if you haven't noticed.
I've seen them.
They're supposed to be highlights, but they don't fall on where the hair would be getting hit by the light. And they're in every single image, and they go the same way in every single image. I can't just flip to a random page because there might be a dong or something, and I'll get kicked off YouTube forever.
Won't happen. They all have those like little lines in their hair. For me, I mean, this is an odd comparison. It just reminds me a little bit of like J.J. Abrams' lens flares. Like it just was like something that I'm just like, yeah, it's there.
Like it wouldn't
Whatever.
bother me so much if it fell on the correct curves of the hair, so that
Okay.
like if you have a light source coming from above, it falls like it would fall, like here.
Yeah, it wouldn't be
Because
it wouldn't
wouldn't
the
be
same
in the
on both
middle
of
of
them. Yeah.
like I don't know. It's just
But that's the same with JJ's lens flares. Half the time I'm like, where's that light?
Where's that
coming
light
from?
coming
Come on,
from?
that doesn't
Yeah,
make any sense.
that's
But
added
at the same time, I can just be like, yeah, it looks kind of cool. Like whatever. I can, For me, it was more about how this story has kind of fallen off the wagon in the last couple issues. Like
Oh,
I don't
for
know that it's
sure.
as like
I mean,
tight
even
as a series as it was at the beginning.
yeah, and I was even saying that like on issue 3, I think, where it was
Mhm.
like I'm having a hard time like, and I understand it's a weird story about like weird shit, but
Yeah.
like I was having a hard time kind of following it in
Yeah.
a way because it was just I don't
It,
know.
it never
It
really
started
like.
losing the strands.
I understand that like the story needs to expand and I as it's building, but like it never really congealed back into a thesis. Like for me it lacked focus at the end. But that was kind of where I'm at with it. But I didn't hate it. Certainly was better than, like you're saying, a lot of the books that I was picking up.
Oh, sure.
And it certainly made me want to continue through 5 issues.
Yeah, I mean, right. Yeah, I've enjoyed all of them. It's just doesn't mean it's without critique.
Look at us, 16 minutes in, and we've already gone through 3 books.
3 books, yeah. Well,
If
when
we did
you wait 2 months and you have so many books, you feel the pressure to be like, oh, but we got to talk about these too.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, you want to talk about Grimm?
Which cover did you get? I got this one.
Oh, look at you, Mr. Fancy Pants. I got.
Is that fancy?
Frizzen.
I mean, I respect that. I went with Frizzen for the Genies one.
Apparently, the second print came out today, and it's going for like $75 on eBay.
Of this one? Of Grimm?
Grimm, yeah.
The Frizzen second print?
No, it's not a Frizzen second print.
All right. So, what are your thoughts on Grimm from Boom Studios?
So, first of all, I'll do a quick recap of the plot.
Yeah, we didn't really do that for the others, but I mean,
yeah. But I mean, it's an issue. If it's an issue 3, if someone is interested in reading issue 3 of something, they don't want a recap of that.
Probably not.
And I can't possibly try to recap what happened in Jurassic League because it's like there's not really a plot.
Description.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, here's the introduction of the Batman guy. Here's the introduction of the Superman guy. Okay, so JP asks a great question. It's just stupid hype, or is there an actual story? So here's the story. It starts off with a car accident.
Yep.
And a guy kind of like gets up off the ground like he's been thrown from the car and says like, oh, geez, was that my car? What the hell happened? And then this Grim Reaper character shows up and says, no, sorry, you kind of died and your body's over there. And then she takes him across the river Styx to this like waiting area where there's just like a huge, vast kind of coliseum of people waiting to have their number called, like a DMV, to be ushered into the next life. And he kind of like, during their journey there, he's kind of like poking and prodding at her, saying like, asking all these questions, and she's not really giving him a whole lot of information. She says she doesn't remember how she died, and he's waxing about this. The reason he was drunk driving was he went to this bar to find his ex because he wanted to apologize. He like messed up and like he realized she was the one true love or whatever. So then you get introduced to some other Reapers as she kind of like goes back to the break room or whatever of these death dealers. Yeah, another sexy death story. Yeah,
I'm ready to get into that. Don't worry. I got you.
And she realizes that her side's been stolen, or she left it somewhere.
Yeah.
It then cuts to a woman and a guy on a couch kind of like flirting and having a date night, and the guy who just died, is outside holding the scythe, like trying to look in to see her. Then the Death Lady and her buddies show up to try to take it back. They chase him down, and she tackles him, and then a police officer like picks her up and says like, "Hey, what are you doing? Are you drunk?" She's like, "You could see me? Oh my god." And that's kind of the end of the first
It's
issue.
pretty much the end, yeah.
Except it cuts to like the villain reveal.
Last page, had to
Last
do
page
it.
villain reveal.
So yeah, I mean, you're hinting on all the problems I think I have with this, which is that like it never goes beyond the cliche. Like it's so cliched in so many ways and so many moments. It's
Yeah.
it's almost infuriating because you almost can feel it's like written by committee. Like you could feel all the little notes, like the editors all just sat around and be like, you know what we need is this, so let's have that
Yes.
happen, and we need is this, so let's have that happen.
And
It
I
was
gonna-
not written with any real intent.
I was going to bring that up because, like, I've read other stuff by Stephanie Phillips, and I think she's a pretty good writer.
Yeah.
This did not do it for me, and I had that feeling too of like the fingers of editorial in the pie just messing it up, because the biggest issues for me were actually more than the cliches, which were there. The first like major issue is that, you know, like I said, at the end, there's supposed to be this big shocking moment where she's seen by the police officer.
Right.
We only, and like maybe you're supposed to like infer that this is the case, but really like with the amount of world building they try to do,
yeah,
that they only introduce the idea that there's no way the living can see them in one kind of throwaway sentence a page and a half before then, where they have all this conversation leading up to this point where they could have like talked about that and said like, you know, he said, well, I have to go back to see her, and she's like, no, it doesn't work that way. You know,
what about all the police showing up at the car crash at the beginning? Could have been wandering around there like, they can't see us. No, they can't see you.
Exactly. And furthermore, again, and this is something that I just like, I know I sound like a broken record, but it's a pacing issue. And I know this is editorial as well, because this would have read so much better if it were a story about this guy who is heartbroken, and he goes to find his ex-girlfriend, and he goes to the bar and he makes a fool out of himself, and he gets too drunk, and then he drives home and he crashes, and then it ends with him dying.
And
she's the
reveal or whatever.
She's the reveal of the last issue.
Right.
But that's too slow for people, according to editorial. And maybe they're right, but it would have been just better. Like,
yes,
I think if this story had a little bit more room to breathe, there's something interesting there, but this issue is not it.
I also have big issues with her.
Sure.
I think she's starting to feel part and parcel with this like I keep using the word cliche, but this like prototypical female Erica Slaughter, Noctera, like female who is like super skinny, wears the tank tops, looks all badass, slightly punk, doesn't really have like a personality,
too cool for school, like a blasé attitude of like, I can't be bothered with this.
Better than everything else around me.
Yeah.
It just feels like there's no depth to her at all. And the biggest thing that we get from her is that she's an idiot who lost the one tool she's supposed to keep track of.
Which like
to some noob who just died. And you lost
your like pickpocket her for it.
Like, come on.
In which we also like,
which it like weakens her as a character.
Right. Not only does it weaken her, but like again, if they had taken some time to introduce him as a character, maybe we could find out that he has like a history of pickpocket.
Yeah, something. But this just seems it just made her dumb.
And like also seems like a huge problem in the system of death dealers if they could just lose their tool that they need to do their job.
And then it ruins everything.
The magical tool that has no rules or ties to reality, where they could just soul bond it to them and no one else could use it.
You got it.
So yeah, it is. I wanted it to be better.
Absolutely. Can I highlight something I really liked about it?
Sure, I would love to hear it.
I love the color work.
Yeah.
I really dig the use, like at the beginning, you've got the car wreck with the, sorry, I'm blocking the microphone,
Okay,
with
let
the
me,
like blacks and whites and blues. Really, really cool. I
Hello.
think
There you go.
they do a great job with
the
some of that.
Blue Oyster Cult lyrics playing in the background.
But then, like when she comes in, the use of red, I think has, was really, really just nicely done. Like little hints of red, the color work. And there's probably some, love to the inker as well, just for being able to like create the hard and light lines all through these panels. The artwork is very solid, but again, the colors are what, for me, every time I turned the page, I was like, ooh, look at that little like hint of red they used right there or whatever. Like those little things that the artists did. And then of course you get to the River Styx, and then the depth of the red, and then the cool colors are kind of gone. I think there's some really good work in the framing and in the color work that goes on here. So I was consistently kind of happy with that aspect. Not so here, here's the city streets. They're great. Like there's a lot of great depth going on in these city streets, and then the little sigh with the one little red spark. Like it just, I was happy
like
with
most
that.
of the issue is just like red and blue,
right?
Felt like a cheap Eric Clofalone description. Yeah, I think like for me, the difference between her and what makes Erica kind of more successful is that Erica cares about what she's doing. She doesn't care about the people around her, from what I've read of Something's Killing the Children, whereas this character clearly seems disinterested in doing her job.
And to your point about starting with the man and seeing his, that's what they did in Something's Killing the Children. That we got the like murder at the beginning, and the boy became a central focus, and then Erica was this like spice being flavored in at the beginning, and then she became the central piece. Like the first time you see Erica, she just walks out of the woods like bloodied, and there's this kid in a wagon waiting for her. She's like, clearly she's just killed the monster for this kid, but that's it. And then you get the rest of what's going on in the other town with the boy, and I think that put the focus on the town, the kid, and the experience, versus this, which like eschews all of that. Sorry, it's the pinkest shirt I got. I'll work on it for you.
I'm sorry, this shirt's been worn one too many times, so it's a little grayed from the wash. But
and to TJ's point, we've always been like hot and cold, right? We got the like light and dark.
I've always
here.
been the dark one.
I mean, I can turn some lights off, I suppose.
Yeah, I could turn some lights on.
You got that one going on.
Which one? That one?
I see it shiny right there.
Yeah, but I think I can turn it up. Let's see. Nope, it's all the way on.
So yeah, I'm not going to get the next issue. I don't know that I care anything more.
No, pass.
But there is, again, I do wanted to highlight the some of the people on the creative team that were really making the images pop for me.
But again, I think it's like an issue with the industry as a whole right now, where there's so much competition that everyone's scrambling to like grab the reader rather than write a good story. And like I said, I've read stuff with Stephanie Phillips. I'm like, oh yeah, like you're a decent writer.
I'm trying to think what I've read from her before. I don't know that I know anything off the top of my. I'm sure I must have, but I just don't know.
Yeah, we had her on Mainframe a couple times, so I read some stuff to kind of familiarize myself with her.
Gotcha.
It's like, yeah. Can't wait for a multiverse episode.
I don't know that universe exists. That's one of the ones that we don't find.
I don't think I own a pink shirt. Not that I'm like against.
It fit for Susan's. It was like perfect for Susan's spec. I think this is the way to buy that shirt. I'm probably the only one that did, but
I think you're the only one who bought that shirt. Period.
I want the Janet spec one to go with it. Then I'll be the only one with both of those.
So,
all right. So we're good with that one.
Yeah, just like.
You were talking about
a note to all the publishers who clearly watch this show and listen to what I have to say, because we're such influential influencers. Just like give writers some time to build a story,
Right.
because they will write better stories and people want to read your books more. Like, there's a reason why people like Saga so much, because it, and I know Brian K. Vaughan's like Mr. Big Shot Moneymaker, and he has all the ability to do anything he wants, I'm sure, with probably minimal editorial in his ear, but I don't know. What do I know? I'm not running a successful comic company, so I'll just shut my mouth.
All right, well then I will open mine. What about Twig?
Yeah, why don't you give us a little...
So this is
rundown.
another Image book. This is a Scotty Young story, another cutesy little creature on a quest, on a journey, somewhat dark and twisty, unusual fairy tale world with all kinds of unusual creatures and landscapes. A journey that the little guy needs to go on, and I don't know that I fully understand like why he's going on the journey, but I like the the visuals are kind of amazing. I did not connect to this story. It does not work like Kanto. It didn't work like, was it Wind?
Mm-hmm.
I think it lacks some of the emotional elements that those stories gave me.
Yeah.
Very visually interesting world. Not
for sure.
half as exciting as Middle West or any of those. So I liked it just fine. It ends with I guess you could say, it's not a villain reveal. It's a damn, the mentor is dead reveal.
Yeah.
And the little guy's on his journey. It didn't amount to a whole lot for me. I read it and forgot it. Like I just was like, eh. Versus something again like Middle West or Kanto or Wind, which I can distinctly remember the characters and the events, and there was more going on there that captivated my interest.
Yeah. I think this book for me falls in the exact category what I was just talking about, where and Scotty Young probably has a lot more pull than Stephanie Phillips, so I can't blame editorial quite as much. And like for me, I think I was probably a little bit like they were behind the 8 ball a little bit for me reading this, because a lot of the solicits and stuff compared it to Bone. And I obviously was not expecting something of the caliber.
No.
But one of the things that's so charming and works so well about Bone is that the story starts with these 3 buffoon characters who are just traveling, and they get pulled into this bigger thing, which I think is what works so well about Bone and other stories like that, where these unsuspecting characters become the hero.
Right.
Same thing with like The Hobbit.
Well, and I think
Lord of the Rings.
I think it's what worked for Kanto is, he's just the slave guy living his little life, and then his friend dying basically forces him out of that comfort zone to go do something.
Right.
And again, I was super connected to that story for that reason. I think it just was really, it impacted me in a big way.
Whereas this, like, despite the fact that perhaps he's going to be brought into something more than he, bit off more than he could chew type of situation because he found this guy dead, but the book starts with him being like, oh, I have to go on this mission for this big mountain man.
Right.
Where like this is his responsibility from the beginning, and he's expected to be, have at least some amount of responsibility and ability to be able to do this.
Right.
He's not just this creature who's running through his life acting like a dingus with his little lizard friend, whatever it is, where he could be like, oh, I found this gem that I don't know what it is, so I take it to the guy who I think might know. Like, he's supposed to be doing this, and that takes away a lot of the charm for me.
Yeah, it just feels like it almost feels more like a crappy video game. This is the quest. You're supposed to go on it. Just follow the steps. The map tells you you're supposed to go to the blinking dot.
He's got a exclamation point over his head, so you go talk to him.
Exactly.
So yeah, the art was really cool. The world is imaginative for sure and visually interesting. But Yeah,
but I don't care.
Did not care for it at all.
Exactly. Look at us. We're flying through this show, folks. It's our usual let's complain about things show.
I had some good things to say about Catwoman.
Obviously, Catwoman ranks
Jurassic
highest among these things. Yeah, and Jurassic, sure. Did you get a chance to... Sorry, did you have more on that one?
No.
Did you get a chance to read Genies?
I've not yet.
8 billion Genies?
I did buy it. I'm not ready yet.
I feel like this one is the opposite of what we've been saying, in the sense that it's like the artwork was kind of like, didn't really love it, but the plot is kind of like, oh, okay, I like the way they're doing this. So the story centers around a bar in Michigan, sort of downtown in the maybe the poorer neighborhood of Michigan. This town is called St. Clair Shores, Michigan, and so people are at the bar that, in the evening there, just hanging out. There's a band setting up for the set tonight. Everybody's just having their time hanging out, and then all of a sudden a slew of genies appear, and they basically just say, everybody has a genie and you're all allowed one wish, whatever you want.
Yeah, which I've always said, like in Aladdin, one of the stipulations is absolutely no wishing for more wishes.
Right.
They don't say you can't wish for more genies.
So everybody gets a genie, everybody gets a chance, and the bar owner makes the phenomenal choice that he says, I wish that nobody else's wishes have any effect on this bar and anyone or anything in it. So he makes a haven, right?
Yeah.
While chaos is reigning outside and dinosaurs are appearing and people are giving themselves billions of dollars that now like ruining the complete economy of the world, and everybody's like, killing their exes or getting a hot new girlfriend or whatever. Like, this is a haven, and it distinguishes them in a kind of fun way, and shuts down people's wishes, because if they make their wish trying to affect somebody in the bar, it's not going to work, right? Because they're now in the... So that ruins...
What a kick in the balls, huh? Like,
right?
I feel like everyone gets a genie and yours just doesn't work because someone else...
This is higher end, TJ, because I look at that place, it looks kind of scuzzy to me. But if you say it, St. Clair Shores is nice. There you go. It says the Lamp Wick Bar and Grill. And it doesn't look very nice, but it is what it is.
I mean, it's all about perspective, right?
So this was very interesting, and there's no central character. It's really just the 6 or whatever characters in the bar at the time, and you get to kind of see them peek outside to see the chaos that's raining down all around the world, or at least in their little portion. And you get to see kind of what this one bartender, the bar owner's wish, the impact it's having as this little safe haven. So the artwork reminds me of early TMNT. The faces have that she looked that's April O'Neil right there. That's what she is. She's just April O'Neil. The genies are kind of fun looking, and they do some good inking and coloring work to make the genies pop out like they're almost done by a different artist or whatever. But I'm not loving the art style. It just doesn't necessarily feel like it.
Yeah, no, I get you.
Really gives me a whole lot, but I'm not really there for it. They give you some hints at what's going on all around the world as people are making their wishes and things. But it's more about what does this haven mean now that there's superheroes and giant robots and castles in the sky and stuff. It's just what is this safe haven going to do? Because we get the first few hours, but it's what's it going to mean long term? The writer is Charles Soule. You should know.
Yeah,
sorry,
sure.
And Ryan Brown is the artist. I don't know Ryan Brown.
I don't know that.
He did the art, color, design, covers A, D, E, and F. So he's
chill out, dude. That's too many covers.
Showing off. So for me, I do want to see another issue of this. I do want to kind of know a little bit more of what's going on here. However, I don't know if it would be something that I would enjoy more as a trade, because I do think the art is going to bug me in pieces. But definitely better than Twig, definitely better than Grimm.
Oh, good.
Easily.
So, I don't know if I ever told you this story, but it's related to Lost, so you should enjoy it. There's a scene in one of the episodes of Lost where I forget exactly what it was, but they're like going down this hallway and there's a door at the end.
Okay.
And they say like, what's behind the door? And they're like, oh, it's your ultimate wish, your most prized desire. You know the scene I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So when that first aired, I was watching it with a friend of mine. And when they say that line without missing a beat, he goes, oh my God, a chick with 6 boobs. It's like, you didn't just think of that, dude.
He was ready.
Yeah, he had thought about that previously.
Yeah, he is so ready for that wish that when it never happens, he's really going to be disappointed.
Which, like, what are you going to do with 6?
The magic box. Yeah, I need 6 hands. I don't know what he's doing with that.
I mean, like,
that sounds like a lot.
Total Recall 3, like, I can almost get behind. But
you got to always go bigger, right? Each movie's got to go bigger than the last one. So I mean, I would say if you've bought it, you should definitely read it. I'm curious to get more out of it, and I think I'm gonna probably grab one more just to kind of see where it's at in the second issue, to see if because I do feel like what I'm missing is kind of what we've been joking about here, is like a central character to kind of get into.
Yeah.
At this point, it's a lot going on. It's more about what's the plot than it is about the characters. And if they can hook me with a character's story in the next issue, then I'll probably stick around. If it still seems kind of amorphous as the characters are concerned, then I might.
Like, can be done successfully. Like, plot-driven things are fine. Like, it doesn't have everything doesn't have to be a character piece, right? But it's very hard to do when you don't have a character to relate to or kind of latch on to as your guide through a story.
Especially when it's one as fantastical as this.
Right.
You know, you need some grounding point. So that was me. Lasso says some great DC books by Ryan Brown. Okay. Or store exclusive covers. There you
yeah, not familiar, but definitely sounds interesting, and I'm glad I picked it up because I would like to read it.
Okay. Well, then give it a shot. See what you think.
Yeah, I will.
It gave me TMNT though vibes. The art kept flashing me to my youth.
But I think, like, from what I just looked at, from what you were showing, kind of like not like TMNT, the early issues like were not the best. But
no, I'm talking about the ones when it was like they're doing the time travel with the robots and the what are they? The dinosaur spacemen and stuff. Where I was like, this is just weird, and like the sizing, nothing's proportional. Everything's kind of just lots of extra like Jim Lee scratchy lines.
Mm-hmm. But that was even like before Jim Lee scratchy lines,
right?
I've got some like quick hitters if you want to.
Yeah, go ahead. All I got left that I pulled out was Fables, so I can save that to the end.
Disappointed.
One-word reviews from Alec.
Yeah. Pretty boring.
You got 2 words out of that one.
Yeah. Underwhelming is generous.
That's 3 words. You're getting 1 word more each time.
Yeah.
This one's got to be 4.
I had to just flip through this again to remember what it was about. I don't think I even finished it. Sorry, that was more than 4 words.
That was a lot, yeah. I don't think I even finished it. 7, right? I don't know this one.
Okay, not great. Yeah.
He's looking at it again. Yeah, it really was okay, not great.
Yeah, the weird thing about this was just like it was hard to keep track of the characters. But
because they all look like dogs.
Yeah. No, they're all actually. There's not a real dog man in this. It's all humans, which
because that cover is what hooked me.
Yeah,
and then you're telling me this
serious letdown. I will say, because I wanted a story about dog men.
Yeah, that was a.
I guess I should have just read Good Boy, which people actually seem to like. So yeah,
that's it.
No, that's all. Sorry, that was only 5.
All right. Well, the 6th one I got for you is Fables. So JP, yeah, Fables is back. This is way better than the Batman and Bigby Wolf that we
could not have been worse.
Over. more than Johnny Depp's pillow, and it was
Amber Heard jokes.
bad. Who said Amber Heard said it wasn't her? So I'm just saying that was on the pillow. Everybody seems to agree that happened.
Well, yeah.
So this is the Return of Fables issue 151 technically, but really just a whole new arc. I will say it was very nice to be in the world again.
Which I take umbrage with because issue 150 is literally a trade.
It is, yeah. It is. The 24th trade or something. I don't know. It's way up there. Hey, we got some naked ladies in the chat.
Nice.
JP, fix that. Oh, wait, I'm in the chat. I have a wrench, I bet.
Oh, wow. They're really spamming all of a sudden. Again, like, I know I've said this before, but they're not even dropping a link. Like, how do I get to these cheap one-time 18+ dates?
I don't know. I didn't get any links. So there you go. I will say this feels like I would rather read it in a trade.
JP's not wrench here.
Ooh, I jumped in there. TJ's got a wrench. I know he's in there.
Oh, I didn't realize you can block users.
Did you block somebody?
I blocked the Naked HD XYZ.
If you're on your phone, you can just tap JP's name and make him a wrench right there on your phone.
I'm not, but I'll make you a wrench later, JP.
So my preference for this book is that, or a preface, I should say, for my review is that I am happy to be in this world again. I'm happy to see these characters again. I'm happy to enjoy those things. I don't necessarily need more. So in that way, I'm cautious about it because I don't want to feel like it's gonna like add a really bad piece of punctuation to a pretty solid sentence, which was Fables for me. They introduced a couple of new characters that I think are actually going to be like old characters, just they've aged, they've been reimagined. So that's kind of cool. I'm hopeful that it's I don't know how ongoing this is going to be, if it's just one story or if they're going to do like several story arcs. But I do like what they're doing here, and I want more. So I will get the trade when it comes around.
I was going to say, this is a mini series, though, right? It's not like another ongoing.
They call it The Black Forest, Part 1 of 12.
So that would make me assume that it is a 12-issue mini series, but that could also mean that it's
one of many future miniseries that they want to do, right? Because they know there's money to be made.
Well, is there though?
I mean, I bought it.
Yeah, but I think like, and listen, I'm all about legacy numbering. I'm all about stuff like that. But I think it was a really weird move on DC's part to release an issue 151 of a book that hasn't been on the stands for years.
Yeah.
Because who else besides Fables fans is going to pick that up?
I mean, I would say nobody. And I would also say people that did would not be able to keep up. I think this would be a book that would leave a lot of them confused
because
and not.
From what I haven't read it yet, but I've heard that it like basically picks up not right where it left off, but definitely relies a lot on your knowledge of
Oh yeah, I think it picks up almost exactly where it left off. I mean, some time has passed, but it's building on all of the characters and where we left them.
Yeah, I wasn't able to get my books today because of an issue at the shop, but Righteous Thirst for Vengeance just continued to impress me. It's something that
was that this week. I thought that was last week.
It might have been.
I do have an issue of it to read, so I do think it's last week. I have not read last week's books, so I'm still a little behind on that.
Either way, it's so good.
Yes, that's been great. And Philadelphia has been great. That's been one that just keeps entertaining me, and I'm really enjoying. So there you go.
There you go.
2 months, 50 minutes.
Can you believe we used to do this every week? I mean, we had usually a third person to help us.
And we would talk about that one book till the death.
Yeah, my God. Then we get something like Captain Marvel or...
You got a few Guardians.
Really struggled to oh my God.
So good.
Good thing we had good company.
I mean, that's all we had.
Some weeks for sure.
I doubt it. Lasso, I doubt it.
Yeah, man. I'm not anti-color. I just don't know how to dress myself, so I just buy all black shirts and shorts,
I had a
jeans.
I had a colorblind teacher in junior high, and he used to basically say, like, I just make sure that I only buy things that I know are certain colors, and then in his drawers he had like a drawer for color, like, so his stuff wasn't organized by, oh, my shirts or my pants. It was organized by colors, so that he knew where that stuff was. It's just easier. He couldn't do it otherwise.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. I'm a 42-year-old child. I have a channel on YouTube about comic books. Like, give me a break. I don't know how to wear clothes. What do you got coming up, John, that you want to promote?
This was my big thing for the week. What are you talking about?
Oh, man. I'm sorry.
I'm all done. I got nothing else the rest of the week. Nothing planned.
Maybe D&D on Sunday.
Maybe D&D Sunday. I know we've got more Omni X-Men next week. I'm hosting the Bizarre Adventures 27 show. We're doing all black and white issue, magazine size, if I'm not mistaken.
Very cool.
So we'll be having PJ Morris on to discuss that. But that's about it. I'm working on, if JP will take my calls again, working on Comic Gory's returning. That's about it.
Wow. Didn't know he's blowing you off.
No, I'm just kidding. Just heckling him.
Speaking of JP, I at the moment am gonna be on his channel next Thursday for Usagi Yojimbo Volume 5.
Nice.
But as we know from past, it is a bit of a cursed program that tends to be delayed multiple times before we get an episode out. So
I'm surprised you're not on the Mr. Sandman.
No, he picks one. I get one chance. Mom spaghetti. One opportunity.
Yes, Black Hammer is next week too. After Omni X-Men on Tuesday, we'll go straight into Black Hammer on JP's channel. We're back to Black Hammer, the main series, and we're doing volume 4, technically, I think of that. No, is it volume 4, JP? I think it's volume 3 of Black Hammer. That's what I think we're at. It's a lot. There's a lot of Black Hammer, I'm just going to say.
So, yeah, I mean, I
it.
am on JP's channel more lately than I'm on my own channel, but it's not a bad thing because he's got a better channel than me.
More consistent, we could say.
No, it's pretty safe. I appreciate that, JP, but I don't know that I have the mental energy to do more than I'm doing right now. With, the state of the world just sucking it out of you.
Hey, but you were the one ready to go with this show. I was the one calling out with fires and stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it was a fair reason to delay because,
yeah,
you could literally see the world burning from your windows.
So true. I was still ready to do the show, and then my wife was like, "Really? Like, what are you doing? It's YouTube."
And also, it was my birthday the last time we were supposed to do it. So,
yeah. Happy belated birthday.
Yeah, thanks. Cool. Well, it was good seeing you. Thanks for everyone. Oh, well, thanks for stopping by.
Jeez.
Watch the replay. We talk about a lot of books really quickly.
And we really hated on Rom V a bunch. Oh, sorry, spoiler.
Did we?
No, we did not.
I don't think we talked about anything he did.
I just wanted to stress Jennifer.
He was at MegaCon and I missed him.
This is the story of this episode: is all the talented people that Alec didn't talk to.
Yeah, MegaCon was weird, man. I was also in super fight or flight mode the whole time because it was packed to the gills, and I'm still terrified of COVID.
I get it, and yeah, it's everywhere.
So, someone I work with just got back from Star Wars Celebration, and he came back with it. So. I'm just, missing Rom V and not getting COVID was a fair trade. Anyway, thanks, John, for hanging out. Thanks, everyone in the chat, for hanging out. Appreciate all of you. And hope everyone's doing well. And never turn your back on the ocean.